Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant was a German philosopher who is most famous for his concepts of modern philosophy. One of his most original contributions in his philosophies is the Copernican revolution. No, not the concept that there was a shift from the ideals of the Ptolemaic or geocentric model of the universe where Earth remained as the orbital center for all celestial bodies all the way to the heliocentric model, our current model, where the sun is the center of the solar system. His philosophy under the same name was the idea that representation is what makes the object or objective possible, rather than the object that makes the representation possible. By saying the object is what makes the representation possible, he is saying that the representation will never be possible if the object is the supposed need for the cause. In any case, the relation between the two would have already had to have happened in order to know that they somehow connect. Now, the representation making the object exist is slightly impossible unless, of course, you're tripping on acid. If the representation produces something that does not exist, then it indeed does not exist. It's a hallucination. Us as humans cannot produce something that does not already exist. We can invent things from other items that are already made, but Kant's idea is basically saying that God is the only being that can create something wholly new through intellectual intuition. Intellectual intuition is commonly misused by many, but the reality behind the phrase is that there must be a production of a representation which also creates an externally existing object. Kant also played a lot with time and consciousness. He wanted to present an idea that showed that there was an external world, the world in which we live with materials, and that its existence could never be doubted. In order for such a state of consciousness to be enacted, there had to be a common conception where we would be able to say when it exists and for how long. He also said that every time one uses the word now, there's a change in consciousness. Now refers to something that is currently happening in our consciousness, and every time it's reiterated, a new layer of time is created. With this put into place, humans had to learn to specify their own existence because they are merely players in a giant life puzzle. We cannot experience time ourselves, but we can see the effects it has on us through the things that move or change. According to Kant, science was also a problem. While he appreciated all of the advances natural science had made, he pondered how in fact those advances could have been made since they hadn't been made in the centuries before his existence. The answer? Empiricism. The theory that all knowledge is derived from sense experience. There was a belief that scientists had grown to be much more careful of their observation of the world. There was a little less reasoning and more legitimate knowledge. So in other words, those hypotheses that you make in your science classes, that is considered a careful way of conducting science. Now, jumping back to that whole sensibility thing, humans have literally created every possible thing that the mind can understand. Because there are two worlds, the world experienced by our senses and the world itself. In order to understand the world, knowledge and experience is necessary under the concept of transcendental idealism, another one of Kant's philosophies. And that sums up Immanuel Kant.